Welcome back. David Hertel in for Elias on this Remembrance Day edition of the Elias Matko Show. You heard about it, a court battle regarding Bill 21. The English Montreal School Board won a victory in April in Superior Court. The Quebec government has appealed, but the EMSB was asking the Court of Appeals to stay the application of Bill 21 until the appeal was heard. The Court of Appeal decided not to grant that stay, which means that the MSB must apply Bill 21. So Bill 21 is still valid, so cannot hire teachers who plan on teaching with religious symbols. To discuss further, happy to have on the show Joe Ortona, the chair of the English Montreal School Board. Joe, thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So, Joe, how do you react to this Court of Appeals ruling? Because the argument the EMSB was presenting was saying, well, if we have to apply Bill 21, we won't be able to hire the teachers we need. And it doesn't seem the Court of Appeals accepted that argument. So what's your reaction to that?
Well, obviously, it was disappointing to get the decision that we got. But the important thing to remember, I think, because sometimes, even the journalists don't quite understand, all of the legal aspects. And so it could be misrepresented inadvertently, but misrepresented to the public. The important thing to remember is that, one, we won the case in Superior Court.
Yes.
So it's actually the government that is appealing.
Yeah.
Two, the fact that Bill 21 continues to apply is not some sort of exceptional measure. It's the general rule in Quebec civil law is that judgments don't have an immediate effect. They only take effect once the appeals process is exhausted.
Yeah, correct.
And the third thing to remember is that this decision actually has no bearing as to the merits of our case or, our chances on appeal. The threshold to ask for this kind of measure, first of all, it's very exceptional. The threshold was very high. We thought we had a legitimate shot. That's why we attempted. But it's not something that was easy to obtain.
No, it wasn't. No, the criteria was you had to demonstrate that if the courts did not suspend the application of Bill 21, the MSB would go through grave and irreparable damage. So, which does not mean that your argument of saying we're going to have a hard time hiring teachers was unfounded. It just means you weren't able, in the opinion of the Court of Appeals, to attain that very important level criteria.
Exactly, and the judge in Superior Court, recognized the difficulties that Bill 21 imposes on us. It's just exactly as you said. This threshold of grave and irreparable harm, and keep in mind. The judge also considered the fact that this is only temporary, right, until the case is heard at the Court of Appeal. And so that makes that threshold even harder because you have to prove this grave and irreparable harm that it's immediate. So we weren't successful in that regard.
So we're speaking with Joe Ortona, the chair of the English Montreal School Board. So you still are stuck with the issue of having to hire teachers and having that difficulty. So what's the situation right now?
Well, the situation for us is the same as the situation throughout Quebec, actually. We're facing a teacher shortage. That's something that I've seen over the years get worse. We're having a lot of difficulty finding qualified teachers, and it's obviously made worse by the fact that certainly people are not applying because they don't want to, if they wear religious symbols, they don't want to stop doing that. So we're only losing, people from the pool in which we're supposed to choose teachers. So it's a challenge. It's difficult, and we're having the greatest shortage is French teachers.
Really?
Yeah.
So the difficulty is to find French teachers to teach French.
Right, and most Muslim women who wear religious symbols, came here post Bill 101. So they've pretty much adopted French as their language, and so most of these people would be fluent in French and would be able to teach French. So where we're actually hurting the most is there, and that's where actually, if we were able to hire these teachers, that's where we would have a lot of help.
So, Joe, I'm going to switch gears here. I can't have you on without asking you about the municipal election. You were originally a Ensemble Montreal candidate. We won't go back and dredge up everything that happened. I remember your interview with Aaron and Natasha on Montreal Now a few weeks ago. You were pretty adamant. You were clear on how you felt about the situation. You stayed on as an independent candidate. You still got over 700 votes in the Loyola district in Côte-des-Neiges and DG. We know how close the race was for borough mayor. Projet Montréal won it with, something around 200 votes ahead of Lionel Perez. Gracia Katawa won. In Loyola, Projet Montréal took it by even less than that. I have two questions for you. One, how do you feel today, now that the municipal election is behind you? And two, do you feel that the fact that you stayed on as an independent affected the results for borough mayor in Côte-des-Neiges and DG and for the seat in Loyola? Did the fact that you stayed on might be a factor in the reason why Projet Montréal won?
So to answer the first question, I mean, obviously I'm disappointed that I lost. I was hoping to win, but going in, I knew that running as an independent, even though I have somewhat of, a little bit of name recognition in the English community, but it's extremely difficult because Montreal not only has a party system, but Montreal has a system where you're not only voting for mayor and councillor like in most places, you're voting for a mayor and a borough mayor and a city councillor, in some cases multiple borough councils.
Like a slate. It's like a slate.
Right.
Yeah.
So with this, even with the fact that there's a very low turnout, I think most people don't actually completely inform themselves on every single candidate, and so there's this tendency to vote down ballot the same way.
Right.
But I'm not gonna make excuses. It's a candidate's job to convince people that they are the best choice, and at the end of the day, the voters make a choice, and you have to respect that. Democratic process, which leads me to your second question about having affected the results. Of course, being in the race affected the results. I got 707 votes. Those would have gone to somebody else, obviously, had I not been in the race. But I'm not going to take credit for having caused anybody to win or to lose, and I don't want to take blame either for that, because I'll repeat what I said before. It's the candidate's job to convince people that they're the best choice, and ultimately people make choices for different reasons. I'm sure that language was obviously an issue in this election, or Denis Coderre would not have changed his position after the advanced polls. In the very last week. So I'm sure that was a factor. But ultimately, the people made their choice, and we have to respect the democratic process. And I don't know where my votes would have gone, quite frankly, had I not been in the race. We'll never know.
We'll never know, but I think some of us could guess. But Joe Ortona, that's all the time I have this morning. I really appreciate you coming on this morning. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Joe Ortona is the chair of the English Montreal School Board.